Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at CrackingCryptocurrency.com, coming live to you from the post-pandemic CC above ground bunker for a change. Today is August 25th, 2022, foul year of our lords. Relatively unexciting day in the markets, but still a lot to talk about. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing potential buying opportunities for cryptocurrencies and what objective metrics you can use in your trading to help better identify these possibilities. As we begin, we are always proud to host the fastest growing community, the fastest growing online community of cryptocurrency traders and investors. To stay up to date, make sure to join us in the free Discord at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Links, as always, to everything you could possibly need in the description below. So as we begin today, essentially my ideas of the market, and I was contemplating this as I was looking at this current consolidation area that we're currently trading in, and I am starting to get, maybe PTSD induced, but I'm starting to get some whispers of the price action that we saw in the prior bear market in 2018. If you will recall, if you can take your mind all the way back to 2018, if you were here, what happened is we experienced a new all-time high and price collapsed quite suddenly down a lot. We went from 19 back down to 6 in a very short period of time, and we basically stayed at $6,000 for almost all of 2018. And then, as the fall months drew upon us and a crisp came into the air in the northern hemisphere, Bitcoin did something it hadn't done in a long time, and it basically stopped moving. It stopped going up, it stopped going down, it just moved to the right in an ever incessant crawl. And I, at the time, got very hyped up about this. I was a less experienced trader. I was not a new trader at the time, but cryptocurrency markets were still very young then. They're still very young. And I got very excited, and I began to view this as a bottom buying opportunity. All right. And what happened? We went from 6 down to 3. 50% collapse, right? And very quickly in a very short period of time. And that first day was a doozy, but the days that followed definitely didn't help. Anyways, luckily, due to my trading strategies, I was able to manage my risk and not take a serious loss. I lost 2% of my account. I was able to move on with my life, but I digress. The idea is that I'm starting to, and I don't want to make this a claim or a call, but as I've said, we do have the delta price for BTC down in the high 13,000s. Let's just call it 14,000. And so in the event that we do get a downturn, we want to be momentum shorting into that and setting our limit bids around that $14,000 area. That's the current game plan and strategy. However, until I see more evidence, we're still going to be looking at this as an opportunity to take a swing trade back to the upside and catch the second leg of this bear market rally. Follow-ups on yesterday's topics. Obviously, yesterday in today's stream, we talked a lot about some on-chain fundamentals. We talked about valuation models for Bitcoin. We talked about the active addresses moving average, the 30-day moving average of active addresses moving over the 365-day moving average. And we talked about a bunch of other on-chain fundamentals. And in today's episode, I want to go a little bit more in depth with the MVRV ratio with you guys. That's the market value to realized value ratio, essentially where we're looking at the difference between the current overall price, the market capitalization price, and we're comparing that with the realized price, i.e. what is the price that a token was last spent into a wallet. We could consider that as the actual cost basis, as the price paid, the price that a investor or trader paid to receive the token, compared against the actual price right now. So looking at those differences and understanding when on average the majority of traders are in profit, or if on average the majority of traders are in a loss, can help you better time the market and make better trading decisions. Now, as we are wont to do, I do want to give a shout out. We're going to be using this segment. We're going to be using this script for the show moving forward. So in this part of the show is where I usually like to shout out anybody or number one person who commented on yesterday's stream on YouTube. That means you have to take the action of going to our YouTube channel, clicking on this live stream, and then after it is concluded, clicking the comment button. I don't actually know if you can leave a comment while the stream is live. Somebody let me know in the chat. But I'll be using this segment to give shout outs to community members who are going above and beyond to help other people out, and for people who comment on the YouTube videos. So I want to take this opportunity to give a huge shout out to Crypto Bull 21. Crypto Bull 21 has been a longtime supporter of the channel, and he does a lot of helping out in the background that you guys doesn't see. He is responsible for all of the timestamps that you guys have been seeing for quite a long time, and he does it for peanuts. The dude is absolutely amazing. Highly appreciate him. This stream would not be what it is without him and his support, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Crypto Bull, very much. All right. Now, we're going to get into our trade of the day breakdown. So we're going to move right into the charts, and we're going to begin today's show by analyzing a live trade that we've taken, talking about what went right, what went wrong, what we could have done differently, and lessons that you guys can take away from the trade. So without further ado, let's get into the big chart and break it down. Okay. Let's get supersized here. We are supersized. Okay, so I think the first trade that we're going to analyze today, well, the only trade that we're really going to analyze today, is going to be Ethereum USDT on the 30-minute chart. And we're going to be talking about the trade idea that I was talking about yesterday, that I posted as an official signal, and that unfortunately was a losing position. For those of you who don't know, you don't win all the time as a trader. In fact, I meet a lot of traders who don't even win 50% of the time, but their R to R is high enough that when they do win, it makes up for it. I have also met traders that win all the time, excuse me, but they don't actually have a lot to show for it because their R to R is so poor and terrible. A lot of bots trade that way. So it is very important that when you are beginning to become a more experienced trader, that you're trying to move out of that zone of amateur or complete beginner into, okay, I do this, I do this seriously. I have an objective to make money. I have an objective to grow as a trader, to become a better trader. And the best place to look when you're through that process, when you're going through that process, is not to look at your winning trades. That can be helpful, but you want to look at your losing trades because, again, as I say all the time, preventing loss is more important than chasing gain. All right. Sorry, guys. Okay. Preventing losses in your trading account are more important than getting a win. Why? Because you can win, you can 5x your account, you can 10x your account, you can 20x your account, but one loss can cripple you. And I see it happen so many times. So focusing on your losses first, figuring out how to not lose when you trade is square one. If you get to the point where you're a break-even trader, usually takes a year or two, you don't want to stop. I see a lot of traders fall off then because they're not seeing the results that they want. You got to keep going, because you've gotten to an amazing point. Most traders lose money. If you're able, wow. I apologize, guys. If you can get to the point where you are not losing money, where you are breaking even, you only can go up from there, right? So focusing on the losses is very important. So let's talk about this trade. Why did we take this trade? Okay, this was a rather discretionary trade on my part. We used relatively few indicators on this trade. And so let's just kind of zoom out and look at this area without the indicators, and then we will look at the indicators. We're going to take the auto-anchored VWAP off, and we're going to throw the regular VWAP on, because that is something that I used in my decision-making process here. Okay. So this was a, let's just double check here. I called this yesterday at 11:47 a.m. With an entry price of 1601, or excuse me, an entry price of 1677.75. It was a market entry. So we entered right here, literally where the entry zone on this chart is. We did have a rather large TP down here at 1601. So we were looking at a 3.41 risk to reward ratio on this trade. And our stop loss was rather tight. Our stop loss was set at 16.99. So price only had to move against us 1.34%. And there's a reason I formulated the trade this way. So obviously we were looking at a lot of stuff here in Ethereum. And mainly what I was noticing was very simple, right? That we had approached resistance, that we were consolidating at resistance, that we saw big wicks on relatively good volume, that were unable to breach that level of resistance. And we were also seeing distribution. So accumulation distribution is an interesting indicator. And we saw that that line was moving down throughout this area, indicating distributive behavior was taking place. And what we were essentially trying to catch is we were trying to be entered into a short position in that distribution area, in that consolidation area, and essentially just adopting a mean reversion strategy. Note that we are not in a clearly defined trend here for Ethereum. We are moving sideways. And when we are moving sideways, bigger picture, mean reversion strategies tend to do very well. All the trading strategies that you kind of research or learn about when you first become a trader, they tend to do relatively well here, right? If the RSI becomes overbought, short the market. If the RSI gets oversold, go long, etc., etc. The reason why is because when price is in consolidation, you basically have an average value price that investors are attempting to accumulate positions at, whether it's to the long side or to the short side. And so when price, since there's no fundamental catalyst to really be propelling prices up higher or higher or lower and lower, basically the average or fair price for the market or for that asset becomes the median price. So right in the middle. And so there are natural market pressures that want to bring price back down to that median. If we get too overextended to the upside, the market has a tendency to correct back down to the median. If we get overextended to the downside, we tend to correct back up to the median. So that was the thesis of this trade. We were looking for rejection. And interesting to note, if I would have been a little less greedy with this trade, and if I would have just simply gone for a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio here, for this type of trade, then we would have had a winner, because we actually would have gotten our take profit smashed on this downside collapse, or perhaps if we would have optimized our entry a little bit better. Key takeaways from this trade that I want you to go with is that this is always a manner in which I'm going to trade. While this is a losing trade, I structured it in such a way. One, I used lower risk than I would normally use for a larger position. I only used 1% risk on this trade as opposed to 2% risk. Secondly, the trade was tight on purpose, okay? Or excuse me, the stop loss was tight on purpose. I'm not entering into a high conviction short position on Ethereum where I'm laddering in shorts and I'm anticipating, price moving down quite a bit and making a fortune off of this position. No, this was a speculative play, looking to nibble at the tops, looking to nibble at the bottoms, and keep myself active as a trader while we leg up or build up longer term positions, which we're not actively doing right now because we need more guidance from the market. So price broke above our stop loss level, pushed above resistance here, and now we are consolidating at a slightly higher level. And we have the same kind of price action, same kind of distributive looking behavior. There's lots of selling going on here, guys. And although we are getting these propelling movements to the upside, there's just not enough conviction. And again, going back to the fundamentals here, the on-chain metrics are just not there to indicate a market recovery to me. Going on to Glassnode and looking at my bear market mirage dashboard here, minor revenues from fees crushed, exchange flow multiple crushed, net realized profit and loss crushed, exchange inflows and outflows crushed, new addresses momentum crushed, Bitcoin's price below the realized price. All of these very important on-chain fundamentals that give us the signals that the recovery has really happened and that the network is picking up. They're not there. Okay. Interesting. I want to go over and actually look at this is. Here we go. This has been very helpful. So Alex actually showed this to me, and this is cool. So this is Crypto Quant. This is a helpful website that you guys can check out. It's cryptoquant.com. And we've got this nice dashboard that has a lot of metrics that can be very helpful for individuals. So for example, we have exchange reserve decrease. That means there's lower selling pressure. This is good. However, we're seeing a exchange net flow total higher than the last 7-day average, meaning more money is flowing into exchanges. Money doesn't go onto exchanges to hodl. Money goes onto exchanges to sit. As far as technicals go, our relative strength index and stochastic are oversold. So this is a good sign. On-chain indicators, we have net unrealized profit and loss. We're seeing unrealized loss, and that the fact that we're in a capitulation phase, this is considered a good signal. We're seeing low long-term holders movements. So that means individuals who have been holding on to coins for a long time, old coins aren't being moved around. When you see old coins moving around, you kind of want to be aware because those are hodlers and they can really move the market. An ASOPR, spent output profit ratio, this is indicating that individuals are realizing losses. However, as far as sentiment goes, we're seeing low fund or ETF buying pressure. We're seeing low US investor buying pressure and high Korean retail buying pressure. The miners position index, miners are moderately selling, so miners are in distribution mode right now. Funding rate indicates a dominant short sentiment, and open interest is decreasing, indicating a potential trend reversal right now. So a lot of these things are looking relatively not juicy for that breakout long trade that I did have my eye on. Now, as you know, yesterday that Ethereum USDT trade was hedged with an identical almost BTC long position. So we did take the BTC long breakout trade here. So in general, my net return on this leg, or excuse me, on these two legs of one trade, Bitcoin long, Ethereum short, ended up being break even. And that's completely fine. The reason why is because the BTC USDT long is still open. And so if price continues to move up, I can add to that leg of the trade and double down. Whereas if price begins to revert, I can take my profits on this trade and begin looking for another short position. All right. So always keeping your options open. In total, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions currently open, all directional positions, 1, 2, 3, 4 long and 1 short. All right. All right. So with that said, let's move on to our market summary. We're going to move on to a market summary of Bitcoin here. Okay. Starting off with the weekly, again, not a whole lot to talk about. As I said, we're really just seeing completely flat sideways price action on this current weekly bar. Big bearish engulfing candle on the last weekly, bringing us down to this point of control. The current thesis is, of course, to accumulate long positions between the point of control and below this shelf, this high volume node down here about 19,229, and we'll be targeting these three upside targets. But again, I really do want to see more on-chain fundamentals pick up. That's why I'm keeping this position small and risk managed. This is not go all in mode. And again, my general a recommendation here stands. As far as long-term positions for BTC, only 25% of your stack into BTC at these price levels. We need to wait for another leg down for the rest of our stack or to begin adding to our stack. And also, we want to see those on-chain fundamentals begin to pick up and recover. Daily time frame here. Daily time frame here, again, not too much to write home to mom about. Price movement here, you guys can see that that long position that we took in concordance. This is the small trade setup right here. And you guys can see the longer trade setup right here. Again, just consolidating at the daily point of control here. Nothing much to talk about. RSI closer to oversold than overbought. Underneath in the bearish control zone, as Crown likes to say. Below the moving average of the RSI, so not a lot of positive momentum. But again, lots of volume in this area, making this a juicy area, right, to be positioned. 4-hour time frame. Oh, also, sorry, while I'm on the, let's talk about the daily from the perspective of pathways to profit. This is the objective trading strategies that I teach individuals in our online courses. So pathways to profit, we are below the Hall 60 moving average on the daily time frame, indicating a short sentiment. We can also see that Minx is in the bearish control zone here as well, after briefly reaching the oversold levels on both Minx and Parallax, which is interesting to me. That is a second way to trade. I do like those areas when we get oversold, indicating that you should be taking profits on shorts in these zones and potentially waiting for a market reset. Right now, we can see that the Mink's line is above the static filter, so we don't have an active short signal right now. We'd be waiting for momentum to give us a breakdown below the moving average, below the static filter, and giving us that indication. WTI explosion also was giving us those short signals, but momentum has died off and we are reverting to the mean. So there's no active daily time frame signal right now for Bitcoin. However, all of our indicators are biased to the short side currently right now. Daily time frame objective trading. 4-hour time frame for BTC USDT here. Again, not a whole lot to write home to mom about. And again, we do see that although nominal volume is high, it is starting to fall off. We can see the volume moving average dipping down. We do see, however, a little bit of divergence from that, though. We do see the RSI on the 4-hour chart just continuing to move up and up and up. The 4-hour RSI has not broken the moving average, so we are still in an uptrend. Technically on the 4-hour time frame, so that's potentially a metric to watch. Watch for that 4-hour RSI to break down below the moving average, and then potentially you've got that nice short signal that you've been watching for. Intraday, looking at the 30-minute chart. Again, looking at VWAP, we're not really overbought or oversold. We're right at the average price for today. We did spend a little bit of the day up here at the daily point, at the higher term time frame point of control, consolidating multiple rejections from there. Let's actually take the VRVP off and we can just look at session volume. We don't have any naked points of control. We already came down and tagged this area earlier. We've already tagged this area here as well, meaning the only naked point of control untested is all the way up here at 23,428, and we're gonna need a lot of momentum to get up there. So overall, just consolidation, just tight, lower time frame, mean reversion, and intraday volatility strategies are going to perform well here. But again, not a whole lot to talk about, not a whole lot to say. All right, moving to Ethereum. Ethereum on the weekly, again, we've had this nice little bear market rally recovery and now just sitting and consolidating sideways. Moving on to the daily, going over to the weekly, I want to bring up those EMAs talking about key levels. Here we bounced right off the Ethereum 200 weekly exponential moving or simple moving average, very important level. And now we found resistance at the 21 exponential moving average. We've got our 55 up here and our 100. So we've got this nice zone, perhaps this nice channel where we can see some long-term accumulation over the next few months before we get into the 2023 bull market, daily time frame, price is consolidating at the 55 exponential moving average. We do have the 200 SMA over here at about 2211, but we do see this nice convergence and upward slope of the moving averages. So again, perhaps a nice consolidation area that we can enjoy here for a while. Let's see, RSI just right at neutral. Nominal volume remains relatively okay, but again on the decline over this last week. 4-hour time frame, again, we can see something interesting happen. Look at this convergence of moving averages falling down below this kind of death cross below the 200 simple moving average. And now the moving averages are moving back up. We're consolidating right at that 4-hour 200 SMA, very similar to Bitcoin. Look at the RSI on the 4-hour Ethereum. Unbroken uptrend ever since the bottom. The RSI has remained above the RSI moving average. So again, very something interesting to watch for here. Watch for that break below the 4-hour moving average to potentially get that short indication and that short sell signal. Because again, this is looking very distributive. 200 SMA resistance. A pullback here is very likely, which is why I indicated those limit buy areas for BTC to scale into that long position rather than trying to market buy for the breakout trade right here, right now. On the daily time frame, I want to be very clear that yesterday I was talking about a shorter time frame breakout trade on BTC USD, which I did enter. All right, and finally getting down to the intraday here, looking at session volume and VWAP. Again, not a whole lot to write home to mom about. We've basically stayed right around the average price today, right at today's point of control. You could consider this a naked point of control down here at about 1637. And in fact, I'm going to call it because we didn't really tag it. We came close, but we didn't tag it. So I would say pullbacks targeting the 1637 are likely to play out. And again, going back to that 4-hour RSI, watching for that breakdown below the moving average is potentially going to be a good signal to watch for that. Thank you for the follow on Twitch over there, One Unicorns One, and Ron, thank you for the subscription over on YouTube, my friend. Highly appreciated. Okay. All right, it's 4:45. I've only got a few more. I've got about 15-20 minutes for me to conclude the stream, so I'm not going to be able to get through everything. Typically in the show, this is where I'm going to get into an altcoin that I'm watching and do the same kind of daily 4-hour and lower time frame analysis, and I would take a cryptocurrency chart request as well as a traditional chart request, but we are going to be pausing for, we are not going to be doing that today. We just don't have time. Okay, so before we get into the market wrap up, we're going to go look at the we're going to go look at traditional markets. We're going to look at some sentiment data here. We're going to pause for an ad break. Self-promotion, guys, that's what we do here. If you guys are watching the stream, if you guys are relatively new to the stream or relatively new to the channel, if you guys would like daily access to all of our trading signals, as well as our premium suite of indicators, our market analysis, mentoring, and much more, it's very important to have a community to help you and assist you when you're growing as a trader. So I recommend you guys come join us at premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. Links, as always, are down in the description below. I think I'm gonna create a little nice little zoomy area for that, like something like this, but you know, like text and stuff, and make it look nice, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right, okay, we're gonna get into our traditional markets, and before I do that, I do want to just scroll the chat. All right, I'm trying to stay on track here, guys. Shout outs to Mr. H, Aaron Webb, Ron Legato, B-Flow, Aaron Webb, Crypto Cat, good to see you, my friend, on the road from Louisville, Kentucky to Atlanta. Good to see you, my friend. Jordan Stotts. Jordan Stotts coming in with a chart request for traditional finance. We'll check that out, man. Any word looking to buy XEQ at the bottom? K7 Jixer 1000 talking about the dollar strength index. It's been a wet blanket on crypto. Yeah, the strength of the dollar, the shrinking central bank balance sheets, all of those things, downwards price pressure. Did I get married? Not yet. Not yet. Moving towards that path. Mr. Ether Robert Warner must be out lucky week. Jack Lee finally found the correct time. Oh, good to see you, Starman. Verk, up or down for tomorrow? Sorry, just joined. Listen, I have an overall bearish bias. I think we're seeing a lot of distribution. I'm not seeing a lot of strength from the on-chain fundamentals. I'm not seeing a lot of strength from the sentiment. So if I had to take a calculated bet here, which I am, it's going to be trading to the downside. I haven't re-entered in my Ethereum USDT short. I'm just holding open my in-profit BTC USDT long, and I'm just waiting for a breakdown again. Now that I've pointed that out and just actually noticed that 4-hour RSI breakdown with the moving average, I think, is looking quite juicy, and probably something I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to is that 4-hour RSI, because it's the same on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, you could go now. If you wanted to be more conservative, you could wait. Let's see here. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to just completely disregard what I said, because I am going to take these two chart requests that just rolled into the chat. So we're going to start off with Jordan Stotts. And we're going to be looking at the oil index. Okay. Interesting to note, we might have... This is pretty cool. So this is the 10... So while we're on this chart... Okay. While we're on this chart, this is the U.S. government 10-year yield on 10-year... Sorry, this is the yield on 10-year U.S. government bonds. As we can see, we've seen this absolute explosion in yields and this correlation with the decline in price of Bitcoin, right? Yields did top out right here, correlating with the current bottom of the market. But now yields have started to climb back up. But what's interesting is we're seeing this little downtick today. So we need some more time to see how this plays out. Overall, excuse me, we need some more time to see how this plays out. If yields continue to rise, I would suspect increased downwards price pressure on BTC. Again, the Dixie, the rising strength of the dollar, the collapse of the Eurozone, all of these things are not helping that. The shrinking central bank balance sheets, all this is applying macroeconomic pressure downwards in the market, sell side pressure. However, if we top here, we would be seeing almost a picture perfect head and shoulders pattern here in bond yields. So while I don't think that's going to happen, just interesting, something to point out here. Jordan Stotts, can you be a little bit more specific and tell me exactly what you want me to look at here for oil? I typically look at WTI, tradable asset on my Forex broker. So we're just going to look at WTI here for now. And we're going to start with the weekly time frame. I don't know why we are indexing. It should be regular. WTI Crude. Bentley Crude. Yeah, so basically a clear uptrend since 2020. However, since June, we've noticed this pullback in the prices of oil. This is probably the most significant pullback that we've seen in this rally. Yeah, probably the most significant pullback that we've seen in this rally. Now, what do we have here? Yeah. So the moving averages have began to converge down more significantly than they have in a long time. And while we don't yet have a downtrend in WTI, you would certainly be getting the traditional indications that a downtrend has begun if we get our faster moving averages crossing below our 55 exponential moving average. And as you guys can see, we don't really have moving average price cost basis support for a while. Because you can always view the 200 and the 100, the longer term moving averages, as good cost basis levels. And just plus a lot of traders and investors look at those levels. A lot of funds, a lot of fund managers look at those levels to make investment decisions based off of what's a fair market price. And we can just see that overall oil is a little bit overvalued relative to what's been paid for it. However, you got to look at the macro. I mean, you got to look at the macro. Like, there's a situation right now going on in the world where there's an energy crisis. And so the value of oil is probably undervalued. I mean, we're going to need a lot. Europe's going to need a lot of external support, energy-wise, to make it through the winter. Just being real. We're going to need a lot of handfuls, Ron. Just telling you, bro. Okay, so just looking at this a little bit more objectively, WTI crude price has pulled back down to the baseline. And although we've closed and consolidated below it for a little while, I would be viewing any breaks back above. Let's see, where's that? Just basically where we're at right now, right? Let's say $94 a barrel. If we can break back above that, then I would like to see a little bit more momentum. This is not a, you got to look at commodities different than stocks or crypto, right? It's not like you just got these, with stocks and crypto, you get individual investors that buy a bunch, they sit on it, they wait, and they offload it. It's liquid. This is not that. This is a fundamental resource, right? People aren't sitting on, well, that's not necessarily true. I was going to say people aren't necessarily sitting on 10% of the oil supply just waiting to dump it on somebody else. I mean, you do have obviously producers and all that, but oil commodities are very, very, very different. It's very different to price them. It's very different to analyze them. So I would actually be looking for a continued rally in oil. I'd be willing to change my opinion if we do see continued closes below the 60-period Hall moving average on the weekly time frame. Bottom feeder's not activating yet. RSI is not yet in oversold territory, so we don't have the greatest buying opportunity here right now, but I would be biased to take swing positions to the long side in this current area. And then we're going to conclude today's episode with Alin requesting EGLD. And the first thing I want to do is what is going on here? There we go. Do we not have MVRV? I just want to apply the MVRV metric to this chart, and it will not let me. What if I do Bitcoin? Okay, it's not available. I can't look at the MVRV ratio for Elrond. So what metrics are available to me, good sirs? Huh? What? Well, I was hoping to get an idea of on-chain fundamentals of whether EGLD was under or overvalued. I'm going to assume undervalued at the current point in time, but we're kind of screwed. So, traditional price charts it is. Okay, yeah, Elrond's had a nice little run in the sand here, back down at basically listing price on Binance, a little bit higher than that, listed at 16, up at 50, so still about a 3x for investors. Nominal volume's been absolutely crushed. I'm really not seeing a lot of buying interest right here. Nominal volume has not yet picked up right now in EGLD, indicating that I don't really see a lot of strength. We did have a buying opportunity, obviously. Like, EGLD is not in a bad position, I think, to add. But again, I wouldn't be stuffing my whole bag here, because if we get another leg to the downside, all of these higher risk assets are going to get absolutely crushed as well. They can go down another 50%. And I don't want to be, scared down here at the bottom, too afraid to buy. I said this earlier. I said this yesterday. If you want to be picking up altcoin positions for the long termer, go right ahead. But I would not recommend picking up more than 10% of what you want to hold in the long term, right? So if you plan on holding EGLD for 2 years now and you're taking a long swing position, go ahead. Obviously, it's a juicy area. RSI is very low, and we're down quite a bit. But things are relative, right? So no more than 10% of what you want to be able to sock away. Daily time frame. Do we have an active trade right now? Let's see here. Price broke. So this looks like all the other price charts. We broke briefly above, had a little bit of a bear market rally. We've pulled back, pushing back up for resistance. Again, not a big growth here in nominal volume. Some distributive volume signals here up on the top. Again, if we move in lockstep with the rest of the markets and we get a nice break here, I would say above $60, $60.18, as well as an increase in volume. That's the important part here, an increase in volume here for Elrond, EGLD. Then potentially we could be looking for a breakout trade and to take EGLD to the upside. Right now, I wouldn't take any action with EGLD. Again, if we zoom out, it does look like a nice accumulation area. Totally fine to be adding to your long-term position here, but just be very cautious with your risk amounts because there's a lot that can happen left in this market, and we don't have a lot of signals of recovery yet. No problem, my friend. Okay. Now, normally, staying on top of your trades means staying on top of the market, and we would do a cryptocurrency section here where we would talk about the news. And just to give you guys an idea, this is what I got queued up to talk about. All right, I want to be talking about BitBoy Crypto and why he has lost his latest lawsuit, or why he's going to lose his latest lawsuit, who he's picking on. I'm going to go over some data shared by Zach XPT on kind of the bad trades or bad investments that he has recommended, and just be going over my personal thoughts and experiences with Ben. And yeah, but we don't have time for that today because it's 5 o'clock. So I will potentially be streaming tomorrow on a Saturday. That's right, guys. We're going to be bringing back Saturday streams. Yeah. The markets are picking up, and I need to be busy because I am focused on building my legacy for the next bull run. And so Saturday, if you're not willing to work on Saturdays, guys, your lunch is going to get eaten right now in this environment, right? Don't believe the fact, oh my God, people aren't working. I can be lazy. I can do this. No. Live the life of your dreams. The only way to get there is by working hard. Okay. If you're young, work Saturdays. Tomorrow's Friday. Never mind. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here Friday, and we'll be here Saturday. See, sometimes I work so hard I forget what fucking day it is. All right. With that said, take a quick moment to plug a partner, Spectre Security Coin. If you guys care about cryptocurrency and privacy, make sure to check out our friends at Spectre Security. They're working to put the power of data back in your hands. You can join their community, take advantage of all their products and services, including a one-on-one private consultation to boost your security. I would highly recommend that. It's really good. You would be amazed at how badly the OPSEC for most cryptocurrency users are. And if you're worried about your OPSEC, they're good people over there. Spectre.krakencryptocurrency.com. Get a little bit of discount. Pre-selected question of the day. So I will leave this challenge on you. So this is the area of the show where I kind of focus on a pre-selected question of the day that has been brought to us by the community. So if you guys want me to focus your question and focus my time and energy on your question, why don't you leave it down in the comments section of this YouTube video after we're done. That'll give me time to really come up with a good answer and have some good content for you guys tomorrow. We don't have any events occurring today. Today is Thursday. Nothing massive coming in. FOMC meeting coming up in a bit. That's the big annual one. Upcoming events. Nothing that I can really think of. Nothing massive. We are going to be announcing a few partnerships, a few opportunities for you guys next week. Some good opportunities to get access to products and services that can improve your trading, and I'll have some deals for you guys. So definitely stay tuned for that. Again, make sure you guys are taking advantage of that comment section. I really like it. Makes the video do better. Okay. Finally, we'll finish up with, if you guys aren't already, hop in the Discord. If you guys are interested in learning more, you guys can always check out our website. We've got our blogs on there, products and services. You guys can schedule a consultation, all that information down in the description. For now, let's zoom to the outro. All right, guys, remember that risk management and emotional discipline are responsible for paying the bills in this occupation. So make sure to focus and prioritize on them. It's not about winning the trades. It's about winning them in the correct way, and it's about avoiding the losing trades. Always take the time to appreciate the things in life that matter. Life is short. Hold the ones you love close. And until next time, trade safely, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another stream. I'll see you on the next one.